He's getting older.
Pour some sugar on me.
Oh, hit the volume.
But not wiser.
Come with me if you want to live.
This is The Lefty Show.
Welcome, everybody, to The Lefty Show. I am your host, Lefty. Glad to be here with all of you today, Wednesday, the 1st of October. Oktoberfest is here, ladies and gentlemen. Crack open your Steiners with your Steve Weisers and Stone Cold Steiners and Scott Steiner and kiss some biceps and all the great things that go with Oktoberfest. You know, carry a bunch of those Stein mugs in one hand, 3 or 4 at a time, which apparently they actually do in Germany. That's not just a sexualized caricature in U.S. culture. Anyway, welcome, everybody, to The Lefty Show, episode number 96. I am your host, Lefty. Hope to put on a great show for you today. I thank everybody for watching, liking, favoriting on YouTube. YouTube.com/LeftyOX is where you can find the show in its YouTube formation. Sorry, I'm looking at Twitter and things are unfolding, and I think Minnesota Burns is responding to me right now. I think he may be just misreading what I'm saying. Sorry, I was like, wait, what does he think I'm saying? And oh my God. Anyway, back to the propers. Thank you to everybody for sharing the show with friends, family, and coworkers. It helps the show grow. It really does. Try it out for yourself wherever you get your podcasts for your PC, tablet, or mobile device. Android, iOS, it doesn't matter. Search The Lefty Show wherever you get your podcasts. Be sure to subscribe, download all the episodes at your leisure. I thank you to everybody who has followed me on Twitter at Lefty643 is where you can do that. And everybody that's been donating. I'mRaising.com/643 Productions. That's I'mRaising.com/643 Productions. I lamented on Twitter last night that my girlfriend, Katie, she would not let me watch for science. Somehow she was playing Spyro and somehow Cat Daddy came up. And then, of course, the Kate Upton Cat Daddy video came up. And I just want to remark very quickly, if I can. Kate Upton is renowned as one of the most beautiful women on the planet. One of the most desirable women on the planet right now. Justin Verlander tapping that. And then taking pictures of his penis. And then putting it on iCloud. What the hell are you? Justin Verlander, why are you taking pictures of your penis? Why are you taking multiple pictures of your penis? You take one and that's it. You got it. You know, I mean, you may need to take a few to get the right one. But you don't like, oh, here it is, like from a Dutch angle, and not like, oh, here it is, like, you get something for scale or a little miniature thing for scale if you're Brett Favre, and you take a picture of it, and that's all you need. You don't need multiple ones. Why do you have like, hey, baby, Kate Upton, like, which one do you want to see? Do you want like a soft light? Do you want some vivid light? Do you want yellow? I've got incandescent. I've got all kinds. I've got 60 watts. I've got 120 watts. Pictures of my penis. So anyway, but I watched a Cat Daddy video again because it's been a while for science, and maybe it's me. Maybe I'm just getting old and curmudgeon-y. Maybe I really think I am. I think I'm just becoming an old bastard because I watched that video, and Kate Upton really, for me, doesn't do much. Again, I say everybody, Kate Upton for me is right there with Jennifer Lawrence in terms of everybody in culture and American society praises Jennifer Lawrence and Kate Upton, and they say, "Oh my God, the idolation that they love Kate Upton and Jennifer Lawrence. Oh my God, they're so hot, so hot, so hot." And I just, not Not anything particularly like, oh my God, stop the presses. None of that. Just, oh, all right, you look pretty good. You scooped. But I'm not, like, there are people who honestly will pop a chub anytime, their shorts are getting a little bit tighter when they watch, what was it? What's that movie? I want to say The Elder Scrolls. What's a movie with J Law, Jennifer Lawrence? What is that? The Hunger Games. They'll get a little tight in the shorts watching her, like, oh, look at how hot she is. And it's like, but she's nice. Yeah, she's apparently a really cool person. Okay. But I'm not, it's just, I got nothing for you. Like, I'll sit down and have a cup of coffee with her and be like, oh, hey, tell me about being a movie star. And you're apparently a very real person. And you're not just a vapid, vapid, conceited person, bereft of any socially redeeming qualities. You're like a real person. Okay, let's talk and you'll be a real person. Okay, but I'm not going to be, Jennifer Lawrence. Same thing with Kate Upton to me. So I watched a Cat Daddy video and this is a dance. I realized I was just, this is actually a dance that people do. Because I remarked when I watched it, I'm like, it looks like Kate Upton is having a seizure. When I watch it, oh my God, look at Kate Upton shaking her boobies in this bikini. Oh my God. And that's what everybody says. But when I watch it, I go, well, she needs medical attention. This is not good. You shouldn't be gyrating and gesticulating like that. You need to seek medical attention. What's wrong with you? There's something wrong with your brain. Are you having a stroke? Big stroker? What's wrong with you? And then I realized, no, this is a dance. This is what people did a couple of years ago. Maybe they still do it. I don't know. There was this one. What was this? Superman that, oh, I forget the song, like everybody does. And and when I was in college, I did it because I was an idiot. But I look back now and what the hell is that? It's like line dancing, but to rap. And it's just, what do you look like you're having a weird kind of seizure when you're doing the Soulja Boy. That's who it was, Soulja Boy. Soulja Boy, like, haha. Soul. It looks like something's wrong with you. That's not a dance. The Cat Daddy. Okay, Kate Upton's floppy boobies are flopping about. Okay. All right. But she looks like she's having a seizure. And I guess I'm just getting old. Maybe I have some weird, like, exponential aging gene where I'm by 35, I'm going to be like, get off my lawn, with a shotgun, not ready to hear anybody's crap from the young crowd. But Kate Upton is okay, and I didn't when the Cat Daddy video of Kate Upton originally came out, everybody was, oh my God, did you see Kate Upton doing the Cat Daddy? And I watched it. And everybody was all up in arms about it. But looking back, it's like, I don't know. I guess I'm getting old. But what will never get old? What will never get old for me is the Michelle Jenneke Boys video. I just think with the song coupled with the visual material, with the optics of what's going on, you've just got a young, spry, athletic woman being bouncy and bubbly, coupled with that song, and it's good. He's gooped. It will stand the test of time. So if you want, go search out Michelle Jenneke, Boys. That's Jenneke, to help those spelling impaired out there. Trust me. And you'll thank me for it. And you can come back 5 years later and watch the same video and go, yes. This is good. It's good. And speaking of being an old man, I had something that I want to be mad about. Because like an old man, I'm now worried about the life of my car. Just in the normal operational envelope, I'm worried about things that happen to my car. Like, oh, that curb's a little bit too high. You gotta make sure that tire pressure's all right. And one thing that I've recently come to notice and come to worry about is my suspension. You know, I'm gonna get old. Maybe it's gonna get a little creaky in the bushings, or getting a little losing some of their sponginess or their cushioning. And I realize, wherever you drive, you sort of learn where the potholes are in your regular driving. Wherever you go, the store you regularly go to for groceries, or the bar you regularly hit up, or your way to school, or your way to your job. You drive that regularly. And you learn, okay, when I make this right turn, there's a dip, or there was a pothole or a sinkhole that was patched and it's starting to sink again, and I don't want to, drive my right front tire through that, or my left rear, or whatever. Like, okay, so you got to be tight around this radius so that you don't hit it, and you learn all these things, and you try to avoid them. What I've become cognizant of are manhole covers. You don't want to drive over them. At least that's how it was taught to me. Maybe it's fine. But I was always, you want to avoid manhole covers, usually because the road around that area is the paved surface is usually uneven, and sometimes the manhole cover is protruding or it's recessed below the surface of the road, and that's a big bump on your suspension. And I've noticed all of a sudden, very recently, I'm like, it's really hard to avoid these things, because in order to avoid them, I need to be either on one extreme end of the lane or the other. Because for some reason, civil engineers thought it was a good idea when they were putting the sewer system in and then paving a road over it. They decided to put the access hatches, the manhole covers, just slightly off of dead nut center, usually to the right or to the left of any given lane. If you're driving down a paved roadway and it's got lanes painted, usually the manhole cover is to the left or right of dead nut center on the painted lane. And it makes it hard to avoid, because your car's got four wheels, the 2x2. So you've got to be either to one side or the other. You can't be just to the extreme one side or your dead center in the middle. You've got to be, your wheels are going to be just on the inside of the lane pavement or painting. And that's where the manhole covers are. The center of the lane is free of obstruction. And I always wondered, and I've recently wondered, why the hell don't you put the manhole covers in the center of the lanes? Why don't you do that? Because odds are, in order to put any of your tires, left or right, in the center of the lane, you got to be driving drunk. You're half of your car is in the other lane. If your left or right tires are hitting manhole covers that are placed directly in the center lane, you're driving like an idiot, and you deserve what happens to you. But when you place them just off center, well, it's really hard to avoid them now. And you drive over it and it all adds up. You're driving over them, you hit them, you probably don't even recognize it. But those take a toll on your car, and it seems just such a very simple thing to me. Move the manhole covers so that they are at the dead center of the painted lane for whatever road you're on. Or paint or pave the road such that the lane paintings match up with the dead center, or so that the lanes put the manhole covers in dead center of the lane. Why not do that? Because, and I know somebody's, the only thing I could think of is, well, maintenance. It makes it easier for maintenance, and it's not as much of a traffic impingement or inhibitor when the manhole covers are offset a little bit closer to the curb, closer to the side of the road. And I call bullcrap. I say bullcrap to that, because If you've ever seen a crew of guys working on a manhole cover, they shut down the lane anyway. Whatever lane the manhole cover is in, that lane is shut down. It's shut down because their safety area extends past the manhole cover. It's not like it just ends there. Like, Frank, you better be careful when you climb up the manhole cover. Go into the safety area because otherwise you're going to be immediately in a roadway where people whizzing by you going 85 miles an hour. They shut down the whole thing and put safety cones everywhere. So if the end result is the same thing every single time, lane shut down. But in my world, car suspensions will probably last a little bit longer. Tires too, because you put the manhole covers in the center of the lane as opposed to offset either way and make it more likely for people to drive over. Why are we doing that? I haven't. Now, if you've got, I'm sure there's a very, very technical civil engineering point to it. Okay, but I want to hear that. I want to hear it, and I want to make sure it's not something stupid or avoidable or fixable. Because it seems like a very simple thing to do. Like, hey, when you're planning this, put the sewage access, the manhole access for the sewage system in the dead nut center of each lane on this road. Or to make it easier, when you're painting the lines on this road, when you're paving it, paint the lines on the road so that the manhole cover is dead nut center of the lane. It seems very simple. Seems like a very, very simple thing to me. And in breaking news, this was I saw this yesterday, and I don't think it's I think it deserves its own segment, not to necessarily be covered in the news. EBOLA, the deadly Ebola virus, has officially landed in the United States. This is not a patient brought here to the CDC, the Center for Disease Control, and what is the other one? Center for Disease Control. It's not just CDC. It's and Prevention. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, but they just dropped the prevention part. I don't know why. CDC sounds so much better. This was not some guy who was, a dead Ebola victim. This is not a guy afflicted with Ebola who was brought over to the CDC in Atlanta to undergo experimental treatment or whatnot. This was a guy who just presented at a hospital in Texas, the heartland, feeling the heart of Texas, and he showed up to a hospital, presented with some symptoms, and it turns out now confirmed he has Ebola. The CDC has confirmed it. Yes, that guy is tested positive. He's got the Ebola antibodies. He's got them. He's got it. So this was a guy, again, not just walking around with people watching him like, what are you doing? Because he was an aid worker in Africa, in Sierra Leone, and all those places currently affected by the big Ebola outbreak, which is growing, because we don't dare tell the backwards, stupid people of those nations, stop doing your stupid backwards crap because you're giving each other Ebola. We don't dare say that because, you might be racist. It might be perceived as racist, and you can't do that to the little society. It's okay, we'll give each other Ebola, and then you all die. We're just going to contain you, build a big wall around your backwards, stupid-ass country, and then go ahead and give Ebola all you want. Give each other Ebola, and then you die out. Okay. But this was an aid worker who came back and was just living his normal life in Texas. And then he got sick. Again, no supervision, nothing, no quarantine. Now he's quarantined, but no quarantine. Like, you're coming back from a place where there's a ravaging, deadly, super deadly virus. Go on about your business. Good job. Way to help the poor Africans. Good job for you. And he's walking around, and now he's got Ebola. And now it's confirmed he's had Ebola. He's had Ebola the entire time. The entire time he has been walking free in the United States of America after returning from Africa, he has had Ebola. It didn't just pop up. It's not like, I guess I got the Ebola now. He's had it in his system that entire time. Remember, and I want to bring this up, not as an I told you so, but as a this is how stupid people can be. This is how stupid people, this is the stupid things people will say to just kind of quiet fear in their own minds. Months ago, when the Ebola outbreak was, well, not in America, people were saying, oh, it'll never come to the Western world. We've got to contain in Africa. It's just going to burn out. People say, well, why are you bringing Ebola victims to the United States? Why are you doing that? Oh, don't. And people were told then, oh, don't worry. We've got this under control. There will not be an Ebola outbreak. There will not be patient zero in America with Ebola. There won't be that. And people that were worried about it, people that dared to question, like, hey, why are you bringing back these people to America? Or why are you allowing the aid workers and, hell, even people with the proper visas from those areas of Africa, why are you continuing to allow them to come into the country? Isn't that dangerous? Those people were labeled as crazy, possible racist. Oh, you're just crazy and stupid. Oh, it's totally crazy and stupid to believe that Ebola will get here. You're just being racist because to stop all flights emanating or all people coming into the country emanating from those parts of Africa, that would be racist. That would be wrong. We can't do it. You're stupid. You're crazy. Uh-huh. That's the level of stupidity that people will go to try to quell fear in their own mind, to think, oh, yeah, I hope it won't happen to me. Yes, it will. Because now, hippy dippy guy who went to Africa on a whim to help combat and contain a super deadly virus, which is, listen, I don't want to discourage people from doing that because I think it's cool. On a whim, aid workers, I don't think many doctors, I don't think they're all doctors. They're just people who want to help. And they signed on with whoever the body is that sent them over there, I don't know, Aid to Africa, the Red Cross, I don't know, whoever's overseeing that stuff, they signed up and they went and to help. Okay, that's really cool. That's great. Good for you. You said, look, this disease is super deadly. This disease is very dangerous, and there's an outbreak in a very underprivileged area. These people cannot it would be a stretch to think they can help themselves or they can do it themselves. I'm going to go help. And I don't want to get paid. I'm not going to ask for money. I'm not going to do any of that. Oh, that's really good. That's good. I like it. But we live in a practical world. We live in a realistic world. We live in, reality. And while it's great that hippy-dippy guys and hippy-dippy girls who had plenty of time on their hands to go to Africa, to drop everything to go to Africa to help contain and fight Ebola for no pay, it's great that y'all did that, but, you've been exposed to the Ebola virus, which is very, very, very deadly and dangerous and communicable. Your passport is suspended. You want to come home? Okay, you're going to be in a month-long quarantine. Your passport is suspended, hereby suspended 30 days, and you are remanded to a quarantine zone where we are going to test you daily for Ebola antibodies. And only after that 30-day period and no presence of antibodies will your passport be stamped and your passage back to America will be allowed. There you go. Isn't that the solution? And to anybody coming from Sierra Leone, all flights from Sierra Leone to America grounded. You're not even entering our damn airspace. Not even happening. And if our customs agents, if the people that stamp the passport see that you were stamped leaving Sierra Leone to, say, Germany or some other place, and then flying to try to circumvent the quarantine, you're immediately quarantined, arrested and quarantined. Why can't we do this? I mean, really, when you're dealing with Ebola, First it was, it's super deadly, right? Yeah, well, yeah. Okay, well, why are we bringing victims to America? Isn't that dangerous? No, stupid idiot. No, it'll never get here. Okay, well, why are we continuing to allow people that have gone to Africa or from Africa who have been exposed, possibly, to Ebola? Why are we allowing them free passage into our country? Why is that allowed? Isn't it stupidly dangerous? Shut up, possible racist and idiot. No, it'll never get here. It'll never get here. Well, now it's here. And now there's another guy under observation for Ebola. You've got one confirmed case, and he's been walking around for however long talking to people with this disease, very super deadly, stupidly deadly disease inside his body, communicable disease inside of his body. I thought, I just want to know. I want to know, when will reality smack us in the face and say, that's it, no more? If you're in Sierra Leone, you're in America, you've got an American passport. We're not, ripping up your passport or saying we won't recognize it. But now, for the next couple months, getting back into the country with your passport is going to be a little bit harder, because we need to protect ourselves from this super deadly disease, which we were told months ago would never reach American soil, but now it has. Again, people were called stupid and idiots and dumb for even thinking that Ebola would ever present in America. And now it has. What's it going to take to push that button? What's it going to take to ring that bell? For somebody to say, oh, gee willikers, maybe we should do some things to stop this. Maybe, I don't know, Joe Blow American, maybe it's not Joe Blow American's responsibility to deal with the danger presented by hippy dippy guy or girl who went to Africa, was exposed to Ebola, has it, doesn't even know it, but then was granted free passage back to America with their passport, and now is walking around with Ebola. Maybe the guy that just wants to go to work and spit on his shoes all day, maybe it's not his responsibility to worry about you walking around with your stupidly deadly communicable disease. This is different. This is wholly different from secondhand smoke. And protect you remove yourself from a dangerous situation. No. Secondhand smoke is not immediately deadly. It's not. It is not. And it's easily avoidable, because you see smoke, you go, oh, that's smoke. Okay. Maybe I shouldn't go around there. Joe Blow Six-Pack has no clue that the long-haired guy with the tie-dye t-shirt and his hemp jeans was just in Africa working with Ebola victims, with people who are Ebola positive, and the only thing he has is a little surgical mask and some rubber gloves. That's it. And now he's got Ebola and he's walking around. Look, and again, it's great, hippies. It's great. I'm proud of you. Good job. You're now making your charity and the risk, your great personal risk that you put yourself in. These people are putting themselves at great personal risk, not seeking compensation. And again, that's very commendable and noble, and I like it. But now you are now making your great personal risk the risk of other people. And that's wrong. And we cannot allow it. It cannot be allowed to continue. Here's what you need to do. If you've been to Africa, to those affected areas within the last 6 months, you are immediately quarantined. Immediately. I don't care. I do not care. If you need to declare war on Ebola or something. War on drugs, war on crime. Screw that. War on Ebola, because Ebola kills people. A lot of them. Really easily. So you've been to Sierra Leone within the last 6 months, get into the quarantine zone. Get in it. Who have you talked to? We're testing you. Any sexual partners? How many sexual partners? They are immediately quarantined because it's transmitted physical contact. Family members, they're in a soft quarantine. House arrest. You gotta stay there, and we're sending you test kits. You got to test yourself. Put the hammer down. And if you are now in these affected areas, Sierra Leone, Liberia, if you are in these areas, your passport is suspended until you pass a 30-day quarantine. You want to come home, day one. Okay, boop, clock starts. You go 30 days in the quarantine zone, tests every single day until we can prove that you don't have Ebola, and then we, bam, stamp your passport, get on the plane. And if you are a national of one of these countries and you want to emigrate to America for some reason, no. The answer is no. Inbound flights inbound to America from affected African nations with Ebola are to contain only people who have passed the 30-day quarantine. That's it. And it's only to contain people with American passports or the proper visas who have passed that 30-day quarantine. Not just like, oh, I want to go on holiday to America. Nope. Not until all this crap dies down. Not until all of it dies down. Because again, we were told, oh, it'll burn out in a couple of weeks. Oh, there will only be a couple hundred dead. Oh, well, now there's a couple thousand. And even the CDC says, well, our numbers on the total number of dead and our numbers on the total number of dead Ebola victims are incredibly lowball numbers. In part because people don't want to tell other people that they have Ebola because they know they'll go and die in the quarantine zone. 2, the governments don't want to report. The governments of Africa don't want to report the actual number of Ebola victims because then people say, well, what the hell are you doing? Because, oh, we get to kiss the bodies. That is our life. That's what they said. And nobody has the balls to tell them, no, stop it. Stop it. The CDC numbers on the number of dead and affected are incredibly low. They're lowball. Not even in the same zip code as the actual number of people currently afflicted and have died from Ebola. Not even close. On the low side. And then we were told it'll never get to America. Well, it has. It has. Now patient number 2 is under observation for Ebola. Here we go. I want to know, what's the barrier? When do you finally put the hammer down and say, no more of this? Or do you close? Really? Because eventually it's going to get to the point where you're closing the barn door after everything's left. I mean, they've left, come back, gotten crap they forgot, and then left again. Well, guess it's time to close the barn door now. Okay, well, the barn door's closed. Finally. We've cut off all air travel from those parts of Africa. Okay, well, now there's 300 cases in America. Thanks. Good job. All to protect what? All to protect what? The feelings of Africans? Of African nations? Oh, we can't. Ooh, we got to be friends to them. No, sorry, bro. Deal with that crap on your own. Stay away. That's what you do when somebody's sick, don't you? When somebody's sick with something that they can give to you, you don't immediately jump on them and give them hugs like, oh, feel better. Oh, feel better. You go, oh, that sucks, man. Stay away from me. Because I don't want to get what you have. But, well, you know, we can't appear to be racist or cold towards the developing underprivileged African nations. Well, okay. Now there's Ebola in the United States. Okay, fine. If this is what you want, maybe this will be how society ends. Maybe this will be the beginning of the end. I thought the economy was going to collapse. I thought it was going to be an economic collapse of epic proportions. Not the 2008 Great Recession crap engineered by fraud. And Attorney General Eric Holder has yet to send one person to jail. One banker, one trader, one representative of one corporation who engaged in active fraud, defrauding people looking for mortgages, defrauding them, and defrauding the bonds, the people buying the bonds, the brokerage houses, and the mutual funds buying their bonds. Active fraud. which in part resulted in the greatest recession, I would say depression, in history. The biggest fall from grace. Not one person in jail. Not one person on trial. Not one person like perp walked in handcuffs. Nothing. Oh, you better pay $1 billion fine. Yeah. Eric Holder, bitch. Idiot. Glad he's retiring. Good. Oh, I can't take the heat anymore. No, he can take it. You know what he can take? It's not that he can't take the heat. It's he can take the checks from the firm that he's going to return to, which represents, JP Morgan Chase, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, Goldman Sachs, all that stuff. He can take it's not that he can't take the heat. He can just take the checks. And that's what he's going to go do. Good job, Eric Holder. Bitch. Idiot. What was I talking about before I got pissed off on this? Oh, the fall of humanity. I thought it was going to be a grand economic collapse. Huge. Just, at some point, I thought it was going to be people were going to find out that the money they have in their wallet is worth nothing. The degree they have on the wall that they were told to mortgage their future to go get is meaningless. They can't find a job. They're broken over the knee of gigantic corporations who pay them bottom dollar for an increasingly harder work or more work. And then finally maybe the people rise up and just, no, screw you. I'm not doing anything. And then everything grinds to a halt and government is powerless. And corporations then are stripped of their, everybody kind of realizes, holy crap, the emperor really doesn't have any clothes on. The only thing that corporations had was perceived power because of perceived wealth. Well, no, screw you, Walmart. We're not showing up to work anymore. Screw you, McDonald's. Not happening. We're just not going to go to work. Nobody's going to go to work. We're not going to do anything. Nobody's going to show up to do anything because screw all of you. Just the biggest middle finger to all of them. Just a big F you MFers, get off my this and suck my that. That's what they're going to say. I thought that's what would do it. But maybe now that we've been so cozy and so kid gloves with this Ebola thing, it'll never get there. It's not that bad. First it was, it's not that bad. Then it was, it's pretty hard to get it. Oh crap, more people are dying. Well, it'll never show up in America. That's for damn sure. It will never show up in America. What, you think it will? Screw you, you damn racist. We need to, what, you want to shut down air travel from all these affected areas? That's racist. Oh my God, you have to protect these underdeveloped. What, do you have something against Africans? Oh my God. Oh, well, that's here. Here you go. You reap what you sow. Maybe this will be, holy crap, 50,000 people in America now have Ebola. Everything stops. It'd be good. I'll sit out in a lawn chair. Go downtown Chicago, go to the south side with a lawn chair and bulletproof vest. See how long it lasts. It's just a bucket of popcorn. Watch it all happen. I've been waiting for society to collapse for a long time. Maybe this will be it. Let's do some news. All right, we got a lot to talk about in the news today. First up, this is something I just tweeted about. It actually spawned the response from Minnesota Burns that had me flubbing my lines at the beginning of the show. This is from the Star Tribune, Dateline, Los Angeles. The title is FBI turns animal cruelty into top-tier felony, allowing easier tracking of crimes against pets. Young people who torture and kill animals are prone to violence against people later in life if it goes unchecked, studies have shown. A new federal category for animal cruelty crimes will help root out those pet abusers before their behavior worsens and gives a boost to prosecutions, an animal welfare group says. For years, the FBI has filed animal abuse under the label Other, along with a variety of lesser crimes, making cruelty hard to find, hard to count, and hard to track. The Bureau announced this month that it would make animal cruelty a Group A felony with its own category, the same way crimes like homicide, arson, and assault are listed. It will help get better sentences, sway juries, and make for better plea bargains, said Madeline Bernstein, president and CEO of the Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals, Los Angeles, and a former New York prosecutor. The category will also help identify young offenders, and a defendant might realize if he gets help now, he won't turn into Jeffrey Dahmer, she said. Law enforcement agencies will have to report incidents and arrests in 4 areas: simple or gross neglect, intentional abuse and torture, organized abuse, including dogfighting and cockfighting. Hey! Everybody has affinity for cock. And animal sexual abuse, the FBI said in a statement. The Bureau didn't answer questions beyond a short statement. Quote, quote, the immediate benefit is it will be in front of law enforcement every month when they have to do their crime reports, said John Thompson, interim executive director of the National Sheriff's Association, who worked to get the new animal cruelty category instituted. That's something we have never seen. Officers will start to see the data are facts, not just somebody saying the son of Sam killed animals before he went to human victims, and 70% of the school shooters abused animals prior to doing their acts before people, said Thompson, a retired assistant sheriff from Prince George's County, Maryland. FBI studies show that serial killers like Dahmer impaled the heads of dogs, frogs, and cats on sticks. Dave Berkowitz, known as the son of Sam, poisoned his mother's parakeet, and Albert DeSalvo, a.k.a. the Boston Strangler, trapped cats and dogs in wooden crates and killed them by shooting arrows through the boxes. Now, I say this, and I shouldn't have to say this, but I'm a dog lover and animal lover. But this is scary stuff. Not because being cruel to animals is illegal. Not because of that. For me, first up, the FBI, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, is now categorizing animal abuse as its own felony, a federal crime, a federal felony. Like, it could be killing your dog. If somebody deems it to be inhumane, you could be guilty of a felony against the federal government. Okay? You kill your dog. You kill Fido because he's a dick. Just because, whatever. Because I love dogs. I love animals. And I know as humans, we tend to personify things to give them depth and meaning as characters. They are animals. Animals. Okay? They're not us. I mean, we're animals too, but we have consciousness. We have language. We have I think, therefore I am. We have society. We created society. It's our society, our human society. They are non-humans. They just are. This isn't even like, oh, you're classifying a certain sect of humans as non-humans. No, these are just literally not humans. Okay? And while we shouldn't just be, do whatever you want to animals, think about this. You kill Fido, and it's the United States of America versus you for killing Fido or for not feeding him or her. The United States of America versus you. Versus you. Isn't that, that should, if you have half a brain, if anybody reading this article has half a brain, they should be outraged. They should be outraged. Holy crap. It's now a federal offense, or it can be a federal offense if I'm deemed to abuse my dog, if I go to a dog fight or a piss fight or a cock fight. Everybody has affinity for cock. Unless you're cockfighting. Well, then maybe you don't. Maybe you have affinity for your cock in the fight. The cock that is fighting for you that you've bet on. Yeah, you go to a cockfight, you could be guilty of a federal crime now. If you're part of a cockfighting ring. I'm just trying to say cock as much as I can. Because it does, in this context, it doesn't violate my speech rules. You can do that. That's what's going to happen now. And I don't, people are, yeah. Think about what you're praising. Think about it. All it takes is somebody, your dog, it doesn't look like your dog has been fed in a while. And then they call animal control. And then you are arrested and charged with a felony. Now, you'll get off. You'll say, oh, well, the dog was on steroids because of some medical problem and it just didn't eat. But guess what's on your record for the rest of your life? A felony arrest and charge. Just, we got to save animals. Oh, it will give. And the other part, which should be really, really infuriating, really, 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 really scary, is a quote in the article. It's the fourth paragraph. Okay? The category also will help identify young offenders, and a defendant might realize if he gets help now, he won't turn into Jeffrey Dahmer. They are worried. The reason, the way this law is sold is nothing short of pre-crime. This is nothing short of pre-crime. They are saying this new classification of animal cruelty charges as a federal felony. It's good because we might be able to identify people who might later commit crimes. We will punish people more incredibly severely now because they might commit another crime later. That's what this is sold as. Isn't that pre-crime? Isn't that not a step to pre-crime? Where I think you might commit this crime. Because we've already got incredibly, incredibly complex algorithms that try to predict crimes in densely populated areas, in any area. And they govern patrol car routes and when and where and how often. And to what degree, how big of a flag are you flying for the PD in this area versus another? Is this not a stepping stone? We need to make this a bigger crime, a bit harsher punishment. Arbitrarily. It's just arbitrarily. Oh yeah, by the way, no act of Congress here, no law. Just now it's a big deal. Now it's a really, really big deal. And one of the selling points is, we're going to punish these people more severely, and we're going to find them and track them because they might commit other crimes later. They might turn into Son of Sam. They might turn into Jeffrey Dahmer. Isn't this a step to? I see it as a step to, pretty soon, within the next 10 years, if that algorithm is going to get sophisticated enough and the computing power is going to be such that algorithm is going to spit out your name. That algorithm is going to spit out your name or somebody's name as a criminal. And that person's going to be arrested or investigated before they have done anything wrong. I'm telling you now. Calling it right now. Because here we have a classification at the federal level of a very, very serious crime. It's going to be designated now as a super serious deal. And it's good because we might be able to get you in the system and track you, and you might turn into something else. And if we punish you now, you might not do something else later. You might not do something else later, which you might not have done anyway. And it's good. And yay, 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 yay. Oh, yes. But of course, this story isn't without outrage, not on my part. But surprisingly enough, people are saying this designation doesn't go far enough because this does nothing. This classification does nothing to harm industrial farmers of livestock and these inhumane conditions that livestock are subjected to before they are killed and processed to give food to, us. And here's what I have to say. Here's what I have to say to those people, okay? Do you really want to know how much a cut of beef actually costs? Do you really, and one, do you want to know it? Two, are you willing to pay it? You've got this ideal of, I'll eat the meat only so long as the animal has lived, was treated, and killed humanely. And you've defined humanely however you want to define it. However you want to define humanely. And you want to say, this should be the gold standard. This should be the goldenrod, the rubric for our food supply, for how we raise livestock, how we breed livestock, and then how we kill livestock to create food for us. And you've defined all that. Okay. Now scale it up. Scale it up to fit the food needs, and we'll keep it simple, of the United States. Never mind all the beef we ship and all the food that we ship all over the place. Just the United States. Scale it up to fit the United States need for food. How much is beef? How much is a steak? A reasonably priced steak going to cost? Right now, you can go to a store, get a decent steak for about $12. $12 gets you a decent steak. Decent steak. You know, the rubs that you got to get in the spices and all that stuff. That's a little bit more expensive. But about $12 gets you a decent steak. And that's with industrial farming, these incredibly inhumane conditions, and bred to die, and all those buzz terms that people use to try to make it seem incredibly awful. And there's no doubt that I wouldn't want to be a cow. Okay, sure, duh. I like being a human. It's good. So, okay, now you want all these humane practices, quote, humane practices as you define them, and scale it up now to fit the food needs of the United States of America, because you are still going to want to be able to go to the store any time of the year, and get yourself a steak. You're still going to want that, right? Aren't you? Right? Because it's the dead middle of winter. There's still bananas in the produce aisle at Albertsons, right? You're still able to go get coconuts if you want. Whatever you want, it's there. All these things, any time of year, there's steak, there's pork, there's all kinds of cuts of beef, there's poultry of all different kinds, sausage, always prepackaged, pre-cooked, comes with instructions, whatever you want. It's always there. Now, you're still going to want that, right? Yeah, because that's good. Yeah, okay. Scale it up. What's a cut of beef going to cost? Because it's with industrial farming, inhumane practices, all these awful things that you hate and you want to do away with, it's $12 to get a nice steak for dinner. What's steak going to cost then? What's it going to cost to feed your family steak for a night? Or anything, any kind of meat, any kind of cut of beef or pork or poultry. It's going to be like $75, $100 a pound. It's going to be like gold. Oh, but it's treated humanely. The cow was treated humanely. Does it taste better? No. Is it better for you? Nah, not really. It's the same stupid crap that people are so against genetically engineered corn, genetically modified corn. All this stuff. Oh, it's got to be organic. It's got to be real. Yeah, no herbicides, pesticides, none of that crap. Do you want to be able to get corn any time during the year? Do you like your pumpkin spice everything? Everything's got pumpkins in it around this time of year? Do you like going to the store to be able to get an apple or a banana or anything else whenever you want? Do you like that? Because that's what genetically enhanced feed does. That's what genetically engineered seed does. That's what it allows us to do. And it allows us to feed ourselves all throughout the year anytime we want, and still send boatloads of grain, corn, rice, all this other stuff to underprivileged countries, to the food banks all throughout the world. If you want to do away with it, fine, but then all of that goes away. And something tells me that those same people will turn around and cry, oh my God, an ear of corn is $25 and it's only available 3 months a year, and we're not helping the underprivileged nations. We're not sending them grain. We're not sending them corn. Well, you wanted it. So, okay, you want all these it should be a felony what all these livestock farmers do to these animals. Okay, well then you better be prepared to pay $75, $100 a pound for beef. If you are, great. Something tells me you might not be. All right, in other news, as we enter the home stretch here on the show, the FCC has FCC Chairman Tom Wheeler has made noises about the FCC banning the term Redskins from broadcasts and fining anybody who says Redskins, fining broadcasters, fining people with broadcast licenses if anybody on their airwaves utters the term Redskins. This is from Variety. FCC Chairman Tom Wheeler said that the agency is considering a petition to issue sanctions against broadcast stations that use the term Redskins when referring to Washington, D.C.'s professional football team. In comments to reporters, Wheeler said that the FCC will be looking at that petition. We will be dealing with that issue on the merits and will be responding accordingly. But he personally believes that the term is offensive and derogatory, according to an interview he gave earlier this month to Broadcasting and Cable. The idea of punishing stations for using the word came about in a petition filed by George Washington University law professor John Banzoff earlier this month. He is challenging the license of team owner Dan Snyder's WWXX-FM radio station and contends that the word is an offensive, demeaning racial swear word. The FCC has authority to sanction stations for indecent or obscene content. A decision against the station would have ramifications across broadcast sports coverage. The FCC is now getting involved in the Redskins fight. And this is the government. This is the FCC. The FCC is an administrative arm of the executive branch of the government. So now the government is looking to tell Dan Snyder what he can and cannot call his football team. Because and some people, clever people certainly will say, well, no, they're not telling him what he can call his football team. They are just telling the broadcasters what they can and cannot say on the air. And yes, that's true, but what chilling effect would an arm of the government restricting this speech, what kind of chilling effects will that have? I would argue that it would have a chilling effect on a business owner being able to call his business something he or she creates, whatever they damn well please. And if there's a chilling effect on that, that would be an unconstitutional act of government. The FCC is now getting involved and say, hey, Dan Snyder, we can come at you from a different way. And that's scary. Because, and think about this. You can probably go on network television. No, keep it broadcast. Doesn't have to be even cable, but you can find stuff on cable too. You can find something on network broadcast television that offends your sensibilities. Something that's demeaning, something that is perhaps offensive, and not counting the Washington Redskins. You can find something for some subset of Americans that find things offensive on broadcast television. You can broadcast, and listen, and I know this is going to sound backwards and archaic, but there were certainly a group of people, backwards and archaic, sure, who were offended by seeing the broadcast image of Michael Sam kissing his boyfriend on draft night, on the third draft night of the NFL draft. And that was broadcast on television with FCC oversight. And there were people who found that offensive and obscene. And that's their right. Is it not their right to find things offensive and obscene? Can we not do that anymore? Or are you just supposed to accept everything now? No, I would hope not. You can find things offensive and obscene if you want. I think. Maybe. I'm not sure. They found that offensive. You can find anything. There are gratuitous sex scenes shown on broadcast television. Sexualized men, sexualized women. Action, violence, gambling. Horrific scenes of violence shown. Blood, guts, brains. Watch NCIS, one of the NCISs or CSI. one of the 15 different CSIs. You can find it. And it will be offensive and it will be grotesque or perhaps obscene to you. And that's all okay with the FCC. They broadcast it. People don't get fined. You can even say shit on cable. You can say shit on cable now. And goddamn, I think. And if it gets late enough on cable, they can broadcast movies completely unedited. I don't think they can show nudity, but they can swear, curse, F-bombs, N-bombs, whatever you want. It's great for Comedy Central when you want to watch, late night, they'll throw a Dave Chappelle or something. And it's uncut Dave Chappelle. It's like, I like this. But, and again, that's all okay. But you better not say Redskins. You can't, no. Listen, either it's all okay or it's not. Because the FCC restricts free speech. And it is viewed as an acceptable restriction of free speech. However, those restrictions have been peeled back. Go watch TV from the 50s. Watch Perry Mason. Is there a lot of gratuitous sex? Are there rape scenes? Is there gore of any kind? No, it's a bunch of white guys playing lawyer and playing judge and all this. They're smoking, sure, and drinking a little bit, but there's nothing else going on. Now, watch an episode of Hawaii Five-0. I believe that's CBS, right? Watch that. We go match the two up. It's been peeled back. But you can't say Redskins. It's all okay or it's not. Either showing offensive things, obscene things, which may be obscene to a small, and nobody would argue the obscenity of certain things shown on broadcast television. At least they shouldn't. Because there are a group of people that were offended and found obscene the imagery of Michael Sam kissing his boyfriend on draft night. They found that obscene and offensive. And how dare you tell people what is and is not offensive to them? How dare you? So they were offended by it. And now you're saying, oh, well, you can't be saying that because it's offensive. Well, wait a minute. Then what about the people who filed FCC, who wrote letters to the FCC and filed complaints against ESPN for broadcasting two guys making out? What about them? What about their voices? What about their sensibilities? Well, that's acceptable. So you're not really looking out for the public interest. You're just doing what the progressive liberal society tells you to. Dudes making out is fine because everybody should accept that. But you can't say Redskins because And this is coming from somebody who thinks Dan Snyder should change the team name. But I don't think he should change the team name solely because it's offensive to Native Americans. I believe that it is offensive, but that alone isn't enough to compel Daniel Snyder to change the name of his team. It's his team, it's his property, it's his football club. The Washington Redskins Football Club. And they're a franchisee in the NFL. What makes it a slam dunk is Dan Snyder, you still have a license to print money. You have you will still, even after changing the name, you will still have the closest thing as a private license to print U.S. currency. It's a nothing to you. The name Redskins is literally a nothing. It's a nothing. It won't impact you at all other than having to buy back a couple million in merchandise and redo some marketing and branding deals. And that's it. And that's it. You'll make that back in the first week. First week. It's offensive. Well, that's not enough to change it. But it's offensive, and changing it wouldn't put you out in any way. You'd still be in business. You'd still be making probably just the same amount of money. Within a couple percent. Easily. But, well, that's why you should change the name, not because it's incredibly offensive. It's offensive. And then you also have to get into, well, how is the word used? There are certain words that just their utterance is enough, but I don't know if Redskins is that. It's a slur, sure. You gotta have a bunch of different discussions about how is the word used, in what context, and can it still be used in a context that is offensive and makes it a slur? Well, yeah, because you can go up to a Native American and call him a Redskin, and that's a slur. Well, there you go. Now, if it's a relic of a term, I'm sure there's some old English words you can dig up that were once derogatory but have never been used since in any way. That's a different, okay. But coming from somebody who even thinks, again, that it is a win-win for Snyder to change the team name. And there's little reason not to, other than just being a gigantic penis. There's little reason to not change the name. This isn't the FCC's fight. The FCC has no business enacting rules that will have a chilling effect on Dan Snyder's right to call his team whatever the hell he wants. This is not your fight, FCC. This is not your fight, federal government. This is the court of public opinion. Because at the end of the day, Dan Snyder has a legal right to call his business whatever he wants. And to try to hamper that ability is wrong. It's possibly, I would argue, it's even more wrong than Dan Snyder sticking to his guns on calling his team or calling his business an offensive racial slur. Let's bring it home. Another great episode of The Lefty Show. I thank you all for joining. I had a great time putting on the show for you. I hope you had a great time listening. Thank you to everybody for watching, liking, favoriting, subscribing on YouTube. YouTube.com/LeftyOX is where you can go to find the show in its YouTube formation. Thank you to everybody that has been following me on Twitter at Lefty643. Thank you to everybody that has been sharing the show with friends, family, and coworkers. It helps the show grow. Try it out for yourself wherever you get your podcasts, for your PC, tablet, or mobile device, Android, iOS, it does not matter. Search The Lefty Show where you get your podcasts. Be sure to subscribe there to the feed and download all the episodes at your leisure. Thank you to everybody that has been donating to the show. I'mRaising.com/643 Productions is where you can do that. Anyway, guys, that's my time. I got to get out of here. Thank you for joining. I hope you enjoyed. I'll catch you next time. I'm out. Bye. Everybody has affinity for cock.